Anna, hi!
Hi. Hi. So first of all, thank you so much for coming in and having this interview with me. I'm Anna and I'm from Austria. So basically I came here 2014 and I'm now already 6 years in Myanmar, which is quite a long time. I was actually not expecting to stay here for such a long period of time because my initial plan was to be here for like 3-4 years and then to move into another country or to start some new adventure. But somehow the whole mentality of people and the country itself captured me, because people here are super friendly. You have so many nice places to discover and to travel around in Myanmar. And I also saw a business opportunity for myself also to start my own business. So previously I was in Jakarta in Indonesia, and I was working in the fashion field. So I was a designer and product manager, and we had a production here in Myanmar. So when I got asked if I'm willing to move to help to build a business, I was saying, yeah, why not? I only knew Myanmar from the map. I didn't know a lot about it, but I was also looking for some new experience. So I was jumping into it and I came here. And I remember the first time when I landed, I was looking for an ATM. I was looking where I can buy some SIM cards. I was looking for a taxi stand, to get a taxi, and nothing was available. So it was really an adventure to start off. And I was working in the garment business also here in Myanmar till to the point where I decided that I want to start something on my own. And around 4 years ago, the nightlife scene was not as developed as is it now. So me and my other friend, we started hosting some parties where we invited some DJs. We tried some new concepts. So it was quite successful. So I decided, okay, I'm going to leave my garment business and I'm going to jump into event management. So I started my own company, and since then I'm running basically a creative agency where we are offering all kinds of services from event management to branding, designing, some social media marketing services and so on. So that's why I'm still here. I'm having my own business, and let's see how long further I'm going to be in Myanmar. Actually, I only had a good experience, to be honest. Everybody was very open, friendly, mostly curious. They wanted to know where I'm from. They wanted to know more about me, especially when I was traveling outside of Yangon, to the outskirts. I remember I went down to Molomien and I was just sitting on the beach with a friend, and one older lady came and she just sat down next to me and she only looked at me. So her granddaughter also came by and she was saying that she has never seen a foreigner. So she wanted to see a foreigner. So she was literally sitting next to me, staring at me, and she was so amazed. So this was also eye-opening because I think we take a lot of things for granted, and seeing people like for example, this older lady, how this was eye-opening for her and a completely new experience. This was also one thing which I really like to explore more through traveling and also meeting people and making friendships. And what I also like, for example, now here in my area, I know my neighbors, everybody is very friendly. If I need something, I can just ask and they will, it's a community, what I really like. And I've never felt like an expat, like a foreigner. I was very welcomed, and I'm like part of it. Yeah.
Cool. Right.
Okay. So my favorite food, Myanmar food, is definitely mohinga. I really like it. I can eat it any time of the day. For me, it's not just a breakfast item. Sometimes when I'm having the craving, then I'm calling some certain restaurants in my area to ask if they still have some mohinga so that I can go and eat it. And I have discovered one of my favorite places these days, which is just actually behind my house. It's called Akuka Tea Shop. And they have really nice Burmese food, which is super tasty. And in the morning, they have the typical breakfast menu with the paratas and with the mohingas and all this. So I really, really like this place. From places to hang out, everywhere where there is good music and good vibe. I don't have actually a specific place where I would say, okay, this is my favorite place and I'm going every evening there. It really depends on my mood and also the people I'm hanging out with. And since I started in the entertainment business, organizing events, I know most of the venues, I know most of the entertainment places, from the clubs to the bars, to restaurants and so on. And beside what I'm doing on my professional side, I'm also a DJ. So I'm also organizing with some venues here, some parties where I'm also inviting my friends. And it's always a lot of fun because I'm playing different kind of music. So I'm not a typical EDM DJ, which we see here in Myanmar quite a lot. And I'm really happy to see a different movement that a lot of local people also come to the events where I'm DJing. And they also like this kind of music, which is really a great thing because the understanding is there that they understand something different beside only EDM and hardcore music. And places I like to go in general, like for traveling, I really like in Nagpali. I'm a super beach girl. I love the beach. If I could go every weekend, I really would go every weekend, but it's so far away. And I love Bagan. It's like you are in a completely different world when you go to Bagan. The pagodas, the ancient history which is there, and also the stories that you hear what was happening in the history and how everything came together, really amazes me. And also, obviously, I love the pagoda here in Yangon itself, Shwedagon Pagoda. Every time when I go there, I go to my animal sign and I'm pouring water for my luck. And it's really, you can feel positive energy there of all the prayers combined together of people who are going there. And it's really a peaceful place. Even when my mom came to visit me, I was also taking her to Shwedagon Pagoda because obviously telling via phone about the experience is completely different than being here and experiencing it yourself. And she was also so amazed about everything. What else can I tell you? Yeah, favorite artists or favorite like local entertainer. I'm not that good with names, but I have been also working with a couple of them. And since also I'm doing the event side, we were also organizing them to be on stage with certain brands in combination. And I met Piu Chote. I only saw her on like videos and pictures, and when I met her for the first time in live, little lady but very powerful and an amazing voice, and she's a great performer. Then I also met Amun. She's also a very young, dynamic lady who is working her way through the entertainment industry and really showing a different side of a local performer. I also met Nini Kinzo, also very impressed by her attitude and her music, her style, and just a few to name. Yeah. Yeah. The least favorite. I mean, in general, I wouldn't say now that I don't like certain food or certain places and so on, but there is one common ground where there are some basic problems. Starting with, for example, okay, the power cuts, the electricity issues, which we were facing and still facing today also. Traffic regulation, you know, with people driving like they're owning the street, you know. people stopping everywhere where they want, blocking streets, and so on. So this is actually a list I could go on and on and on. But I think what we also have to understand is Myanmar is still a country which is developing. So it takes time. And if I see the neighboring countries where they are right now and how far they have come, Myanmar is still long way back. So they still have to go a long way. And I think what is needed is a lot of education in terms of maybe starting certain campaigns, through social media or TV or radio, to educate people about, for example, traffic rules, or even what is a good initiative is also that spitting around with the beetle nut, that also has stopped in certain areas, like in downtown. But I think there has to be a little bit more aggressive campaigns and more law enforcement. What I miss here is really a little bit more proper law enforcement. Not only for getting things right, but also protecting the public. Every time when I'm going on a street and I'm seeing these bus drivers driving from that lane to their own lane and just cutting everybody and speeding and all this is dangerous, because you can see a lot of also these kids crossing the streets and running without looking, and at one point this can also be very dangerous. So I feel there should be definitely more stricter law enforcement, punishment. Even if taxi drivers are making a mistake, they should pay a fee, a penalty for blocking and stopping and cutting people and all this. And as long as I think there is no proper law enforcement, nothing will change. Yeah, and everything is going away. And we will see what's going to happen in the next couple of years and how things will change. But the sooner the better, I'm always saying. And before it gets even more crazy and out of control, there should be some change. And at least now we can see the younger generation, they have more an understanding, and they're also willing, to accept different changes and also do something to change within the community and their parents, grandparents, to make them understand certain things, because obviously different generation, different mindset, different thinking, and different bringing up. So there are 3 generations clashing together, which obviously also I understand with the Burmese mentality that if a certain person has an age, then you have to pay respect, and you cannot tell that person what to do. Which also brings me to the next problem, which I have also seen in many work environments, that although we have a younger generation which is more open-minded and they're more willing to put more work into it, bring some changes, they cannot really open up in the company itself, because they have seniors, and what the senior is saying is right and has to be done, which is eventually not always the right way. But because of this respect of age and being a senior and not being open-minded and listening what actually the younger generation has to say, a lot of companies are just stuck. And if that also doesn't change, then they will not go far. At one point, the breaking point is going to happen, and then it will just crash. So there are a lot of mindset issues, I would say, of the bringing up and of how much can you basically open the door for the younger generation to take over and to do certain changes to help the community and to help the government, to grow faster. And also that has a lot to do now. Elections are going to come up. Which party is going to win? What is going to happen? A lot of people, they want big changes. Who can do what kind of changes? who is open-minded to really bring up everything on an international level. How can we get certain help from abroad to help with infrastructure, to help with energy, to help really the country itself to develop in a much faster pace. Yeah. No, because I have also seen it I've been working with so many different companies, from international companies to like very local companies, different people in a senior position, and the way of how they work sometimes really drags the job instead of, okay, making fast decisions. You know, you don't have to have from 10 people the signature to make one small change, right? But this is happening everywhere, and if it's happening in the companies, it's also then happening in the government, most probably in the same way, to get approvals done, to get a signature, to have a responsible person who can really make a decision. So it's a long process, but I hope that there is going to be a change, and I hope that slowly, you know, there's going to be an open up of letting things in and putting the trust in people to make decisions. Because working always down from always top management level to the on-ground decision is really difficult. Things are moving very fast, especially these days since everything is digital. It's moving even faster. You get information very quickly. You get your money out. You can transfer it just with one button. You can do everything digitally. So if we want to succeed and we want to make things move, we have to change also the system so that it's quicker. You have to assign people to make decisions. You have to trust them, even if they fail and make a wrong decision. This is also okay. I mean, the world is not going to go down because of a wrong decision. But I think everybody has to learn to take responsibility and to have the freedom to decide for the company and for everything else. Yeah, so that things are getting ahead in a much faster way. Yes. Yeah. If you first of all, if you don't understand me, don't say yes. If you don't know how to do the job, don't say yes. Better say, I don't understand, communicate with me, and then try to find a solution. Because I have also experienced many times that people are saying yes, they can, and then suddenly nothing is done. They don't answer the phone because they don't know, and then they try to please you, and then they are afraid of not being able to do it, and then just avoiding you, which also sometimes really drove me crazy. And we are all under pressure because we're working with a client. The client is expecting, so I'm also expecting from certain people to deliver. But if you cannot deliver, then you have to tell me, okay, I cannot deliver today, but I can make it in the next 2 days. Not say yes, and then keep me waiting. So this is one of the problems which drives me really crazy, and which has to change. Definitely, all these people who are yes sayers and not actually being able to do it, it's not a good reputation for themselves, because image will suffer. Because if you do this one time with me and you don't deliver, I will not hire you anymore. I will not work with you anymore. So this is one thing which really is getting on me. Yeah, a lot of people also oversell themselves too much. For example, we sent out that we're looking for a certain person for a job with a job description, and then they come to the interview, and then they are not actually able to do the job, but they're overselling themselves that they can even do more than what is required. And when I put them into test, they fail miserably. So I then asked them, okay, what was your expectation? I mean, you know what has to be done. You're saying you can do more than this, but then eventually at the end of the day, you can't even do what is required, even less. But having the mindset that I actually can, and I also want this amount of money as a salary. So this is again reality. You have to be you have to be, first of all, honest with yourself and live in the reality you are right now, and don't take a job or don't promise too much to anybody if you can't fulfill it. And this was happening with so many people, and I had people coming in and I had people to let go and fire because over promising and not being able to deliver. These things are still happening. And definitely it will still happen unless, what I was also mentioning before, there has to be a lot of education. Education at the workplace, how to behave, what is work ethic, how to be responsible, how to be communicative, how to be honest. If there is a problem, then we have to talk about it and find a solution. And then also being a problem solver. Yes. Don't wait till the pot is already cooking and boiling and then it's exploding. You have to be, you have to act before that. So if you see a problem, try to find a solution. And I've also experienced many times that, okay, there are certain things I want and we need to get it done. And the first thing I get to hear is like, no, cannot. What no, cannot? There is always a way to get things done, to find it out, to make a call, to go on the internet, to find information, to call people, to ask them, or to go just out on the street and to find out, okay, where can I get this? How much is it? Making price calculations, comparing prices, etc., etc. Because this is also one problem I've realized, that too many things are like no, cannot, and not really like yes, okay, I will try to find a solution and just do. Many times when I hear no, cannot, I'm also getting like, don't tell me no in the beginning. Try to find a solution and do it. Because I also know when I started, I did everything on my own. I went to downtown, I went to explore every single street to know where can I get everything related to stationery, where I can get everything related to electricity, to light, to blah, 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 so that I know in case when we host an event and we need to get certain things, I know where to go, I know what the price is, and I know who are the people I can trust to deliver all the goods. So when I started hiring people, and when these people started telling me no, cannot, then I got very angry, because I said, if I as a foreigner can go and find it out, then you as a local should be even more capable of doing the job. So don't tell me no, cannot. This word no is forbidden. I don't want to hear it. I told them, don't say no. It's a forbidden word. No is a word which is not going to be used here in our environment. Yes. Try to find a solution. And it's a wrong attitude, wrong mindset. Because if you keep telling yourself also like no, cannot, you will never grow. Yes. And the moment you change and say, okay, yes, everything is possible, I can do everything, and I will try to find a way to do it, then you will also grow. Yes. Because that's where people get stuck. No, cannot. And then these people get frustrated because they cannot grow. Yes. They will not going to be able to grow in their work life or in their personal life. Yes. They will not be able to finally, open up and start flying, grow your wings and start flying. So that's why I always say, you have to learn a lot, you have to listen. Because I also had an experience where I was having one event with one outside partner, and that person was also Myanmar, much younger than me, and I was saying, okay, let's give it a try. Let's do an event together and see how this goes. And after this event, I had to sit down and I had to be very straightforward, saying, okay, you should go and work for somebody and gain experience and be open-minded and listen what this person is going to tell you, because this is the only way how you can learn. You're young, you don't know anything right now. That's why you have to go out and learn, burn your fingers, but at least you will then know later what not to do. So one of the most memorable experiences I had was in my early time of my stay here in Myanmar. I was going on a discovery tour in Yangon, and I was walking from the Lying Buddha here next to the Shwegondang Road. I was walking down, and I met a guy, and he was like an older gentleman, and we just started talking, and he was like, come, I will show you something, So he was taking me down where the monks were living. They were having their separate living areas, which was built, I think it was somewhere underground, till up on the next to the next road where we crossed, and then he invited me to his house to come for dinner. So I was like, oh no, thank you, Akko, I'm okay, and so on, but he insisted. So I said, okay, why not? And I was welcomed to his home where he was living with his family. And they were very, very simple, it was a room with only a floor mat. There was no other furniture, one lamp, there was no TV, basically really, really very simple. But he was opening up his door to his home, and he invited me in, and then the wife was bringing some small dishes to try. And they were just very curious about who am I and what I'm doing here and where I'm from, and they wanted to know so many things, And for me, it was very surprising to be invited from a stranger, and he opened up his home to me just because he was friendly, and this was such a nice experience, coming from a Western country where this is not very usual, that somebody is just meeting you on the street and saying, come to my home, I will cook for you, and all this. People in the West are still a little bit more reserved in that area. But that was one very nice experience, and very memorable. I still have this picture in my head of sitting with this family together and talking about all kind of stuff and telling them where I'm from and what is so different between my country and their country. And this was really, really, really nice. And another experience I also had in the beginning was I was looking for a Burmese teacher. And I met this guy who offered his sessions, that he can come to your home and then we can do one-on-one session. And he was in prison. So he was here in Myanmar prison, and then he was telling me the ways of how they were communicating inside of the prison with giving knock signs, so that they can at least communicate with the other prisoners inside of the prison. And he was saying that the way they were living there, he was there also for a very, very long time, and not being able to speak to anybody because it was forbidden. And then the food they were getting, and then also with their own, being occupied with their own mind in these four walls of the prison. And how much learning he had to do to understand himself also, and also to find peace. Because, best example is COVID. We all were in a kind of prison at home. We were not able to go out for a very long time unless it was for some necessary things, right? And we were not able to have any social contact. We were in our own environment, with our own mind, with our own thoughts. And a lot of people went a little bit crazy because they cannot cope up with being alone and with themselves for such a long time. Where again, the Buddhist teaching is coming in a good way, with meditation and with finding, being aligned with yourself and finding inner peace to cope up with something like this. And we have heard crazy stories that abuses at home and fights between families, because you're sticking together 24 hours for a very long time, and then one point there can be an explosion because of some minor misunderstanding and fights and so on. So this was also one very interesting meeting in the beginning of my time here, and just to hear people and their story and their history and what they have experienced and what they have been going through. This was also one amazing experience for myself as well. Yeah, and beside that, I'm here 6 years, and there are many different things I have also seen and experienced through traveling and through meeting different people, and I could go on and on and on with this. But I would say these two were really like a highlight of my stay here. Yeah. Okay, so my overall experience, I would give a solid, let's say 6. Not too bad, but also not too great, because I think there is still a lot of areas which needs improvement for a better quality of life, obviously, which also then would put the number of my experience and stay on a higher pedestal. Yes, staying here for a longer period, but that also depends on how business develops. How are things going now to move ahead after COVID? What are going to be the opportunities, and what can be done? Because I feel now, okay, things are still uncertain, and not only in Myanmar, but everywhere on the world. We don't know where this is going. We don't know how things are going to develop with job securities, projects, companies spending money. Especially in my field, I'm running an agency, so I'm depending on clients, projects, and briefs. And if they cut down on budgets, then it will be very difficult for me to sustain in Myanmar, because I would have to put even more effort into looking into some new development, in some new opportunities, and so on. So everything depends now how, let's say, the next 12 months are going to develop in that area. If I'm going to stay here for another couple of years, or if I will have to make a move, and then also what is going to be the next move. So I'm not planning too far ahead, because I also don't believe in long-term plans. Things change quickly. Who would have thought that 2020 is going to be like this, right? So I'm planning in, let's say, 6 months period of time, every 6 months, to see, okay, what's going to happen next, what is the economy doing, what is my current situation, and then according to this, I'm planning the next step. Yeah. So we in Austria, we speak German. So in Germany it would be, ich wünsche euch allen nur das Beste, viel Erfolg und Gesundheit für die nächsten Monate und Jahre. Und ich hoffe das Beste für Myanmar und für die Leute hier, die leben. Yes, that was in Germany. So basically I was sending out my well wishes for the next couple of months and years for everybody here in the country, for the country itself, and also for Myanmar's people.